Welcome back, everybody, to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book Review. We're doing issue zeros really quick. Action Comics number 0, up to you guys. It's $3.99. There are 2 stories in it. One is about the boy who took Superman's cape. Heartwarming story, gotta say, because the boy has an abusive father and he wears the cape to be strong, basically, against his father. In the end, Superman shows up, saves the day. That's the long, short version of it. Also, the Smallville Superman gets his secondary story. Everybody on the live cast said they didn't even bother reading the second story. I hardly even looked at it. I gave it a glance. As I told you guys, I leave Superman up to you guys. I don't touch the stuff anymore as far as recommending anything as far as Superman goes. I have Justice League. I'm not reviewing it in this. And I didn't read Extermination yet. For those of you who are looking forward to seeing my review on it, when I finish reading Extermination number 1, I will be doing an in-depth review on Dark Avenger Inc. So guys, if you want, go over to Dark Avenger Inc. if you haven't already and subscribe, and I will, as soon as I finish reading Extermination, I will give you guys a full-fledged, in-depth review from page 1 to the final page, and let you guys know if I'm going to actually buy the rest of the series and continue it. But Action Comics, up to you guys. I was going to drop this book, but decided to keep it and drop another book instead. Once again, on the live show. Go check it out. Earth 2, Issue 0. I actually dropped another book that I also changed my mind about and dropped the book instead of. But anyway, you know, I expected a little bit more from this book, especially since we don't get that much of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in this series. And I understand it's JSA related, but what can you know? It's in the point of view of Sloan, the agent from the cover, and he turns everybody, he goes against everybody in the end, and he basically thinks he's doing the right thing by destroying every place that was ever touched by Darkseid. And let's just say this is what happens to Earth. And yeah, that's the long and short version of it. Was it an okay issue? The artwork was pretty okay, and you don't see Sloan again until the first issue of Earth 2, where when I believe it wasn't Black Lightning, I forgot his name.
Oh.
He was one of the New 52 titles that got canceled right away. Mr. Terrific. When Mr. Terrific was showed up in the first issue of Earth 2, and Sloan was there, and he said, "I'm saving the world from people." So this is an origin basically of Sloan and how he turned evil. Up to you guys. Most of these books are origins, so there's really not much to tell because I don't want to spoil too much. Green Lantern issue 0 is the origin of the new Green Lantern.
I thought
Simon Baz. It was okay. I'm really not interested in any more Green Lanterns. Earth already has Hal Jordan, which then went into John Stewart, which then went into Guy Gardner, which then went into Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, but...
And now we have this guy.
But what's wrong with having more than one Green Lantern? I mean, it's not...
In one sector, on Earth, you know, it's becoming too much of a, okay, let's see who we're going to give the Green Lantern ring to next. He's mislabeled. It's kind of ironic that it's 9/11. He's mislabeled because he's an Arab American. He steals a car. It turns out the car has a bomb in it. They believe he's a terrorist. A lot of stuff happens in the government. And you guys know what happens next, basically. Green Lantern ring shows up. He doesn't actually look like this at all in the book. But the Green Lantern ring goes on him. He escapes. The FBI or the CIA, wherever it was, contacts Amanda Waller. We have the Third Army walking around Earth looking to convert people into the Third Army. And we have Simon Baz knocked out somewhere in the world with a message waiting.
Sinestro?
Yes, and I'm not going to spoil the very last page, but we find out more, and I was right, about what's happened to Sinestro and Hal Jordan, the end. I was right. That's all I'm going to say. You guys got to buy this book to see the last page and hear what happened with the Green Lantern.
But I did read it. I thought it was good. I mean, that's
4
just
out of 5
opinion.
stars. I'll say 4.
4.5.
Okay, but that's not my favorite.
I'll give it that at least.
My favorite point ones of this week were the retelling of the origin of Animal Man, as well as the retelling of the origin of Alec Holland. The reason I have both of these at the same time is because both of them involve Arcane. Arcane killed off most of No, let's see. I don't want to see. The stories are so intertwined that I'm actually going to have to read through this. This story begins with Arcane killing the first avatar of the Red, and then the Red goes to look for a new avatar, and it's Buddy, and he becomes Animal Man. You know, he gets famous, and you know, Buddy basically gets famous from his powers. This was a very freaky picture, if you ask me.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, ew.
And that's when it turns out that Buddy's wife is pregnant with the real avatar of the Red. The Red only gives him a restricted amount of power. And Arcane basically finds out about it, and he says, you know what? This new little Red Queen, let it be born. I think she'll be more useful to me alive for now. So he lets basically Buddy's daughter get born, because he feels that she's going to be a bigger asset to him alive than just killing her off right away. But he's been doing that right along. And in the green, however, same story. It starts off with the first avatar of the green, who's killed by Arcane yet again. And actually in this page it shows you both the red and the green that were destroyed by Arcane. Then it jumps to Alec Collin and the origin of how he became Swamp Thing. Well, how basically Arcane tried to prevent the Green from making him Swamp Thing by destroying him, and Arcane ends up, Alec Collin ends up dying, and we all know what happens next. Basically, instead of Alec Collin becoming Swamp Thing, the Swamp imprints his memories and creates a newer Swamp Thing instead. And then, of course, Brightest Day happens, and yeah, basically Alec Collin is reborn with the White Lantern ring.
Before the New 52?
Yeah, before the New 52.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting.
And then you get your bio. I love these books most of all from DC this week. This one as well as Animal Man. Both of them. Other than Green Lantern, basically here are my top 3 favorite books from DC right now. The only thing that other comics I like from DC are the other 2 Green Lanterns, obviously. I'm somewhat enjoying Earth 2, and I ended up dropping basically everything else. And Batman. I'm enjoying Batman a lot.
Mine is the obvious Green Arrow.
And Justice League Dark.
Well, there was no issue 0. I'm talking about the issue 0.
Oh, you're talking about just this week. I was talking
Justice
about
League
in general.
Dark, I can't wait for that one.
Okay, now I'm giving you guys the first couple of books from Marvel that left me, especially the next book, with a headache. First, X-Men #2, Wolverine and Victor Creed go looking to recruit more people. They try to recruit Magneto, it doesn't work. Half the book is a fight between them and Magneto. It turns out the boy that Wolverine thought was dead, or what was it, Anthony, he finds out he's alive. We also meet a new character who basically they call Yeti. Let's see if I can get a better picture of him. Wolverine basically starts to train these, here's Yeti. Wolverine basically starts to train them so this way they'll be able to defend themselves and take care of themselves. That's when the whole Magneto thing happens, and basically that's the whole book. And then we get somebody who, instead of wanting to destroy the mutants, he wants to try to control them. And the last page I leave for next time, but that's basically it. The issue was pretty good, but at the same time it just didn't. I expected a little bit more, but once again you have to be used to Neil Adams in order to truly be okay with this enough to stick around for the next couple of issues. I know a few people didn't like it, a few people dropped it after issue 1. I'm going to stick with it a bit longer. If by the next issue I'm still getting a bit of a headache from it, I'm probably just going to let it go and collect it and trade later. Or I'll probably stick with it. It's only 5 issues or 6 issues. Yeah, give it a shot. The book that gave me the hugest headache this week, and I think that's what's kind of got me having this headache tonight, and it's pounding right now, is Dark Avengers 180. This issue was so confusing, I had to go back and forth half a dozen times. It jumps from...
Oh, you said it's on the line.
The Dark Avengers... to the Thunderbolts, to the Fact headquarters, back to the Thunderbolts, back to the Dark Avengers, and basically here's what I understood, here's what I got. Because of whatever the Dark Avengers are doing in the present, that cataclysmic thing, whatever it is, led into the dark future that the Thunderbolts are in. So the Thunderbolts are going to try to travel back to the present day to stop the Dark Avengers from doing what they're doing that's going to cause the cataclysmic future that they're in now. And Luke Cage in this cataclysmic future was cloned already 6 times. And
that made my head swirl when you were explaining it. God, good thing I didn't read it either.
And I don't know, this book jumped all over the place. Songbird attacks fact, and basically there was something that traveled through to the future, and Soundwave sent a message back, and the only thing I could tell you guys is this. Turns out that the warden in a facility, he said, I came to ask a favor, and you have less than a minute to give me an answer. And we don't know who it is, but it's somebody in the shadows. And I have a feeling it's Norman Osborn, because he's the only one that really knows the Dark Avengers. And then the ending is something we've seen only, what, 1,000,000 times? The next issue is Cataclysm. I'm telling you, this is the reason why my head is pounding like crazy tonight. Between trying to figure out, I thought at one point, this is how crazy this was going, I thought at one point that the Thunderbolts were tricked to believe they were in the future and they were somewhere else in the present, but then I realized that that was wrong, that they are actually in the future, and it was just, it jumped around so much that it would give the sanest person, or the person with the least likely
basically stay away if you
don't stay away, but be ready for a headache, or just be willing to understand it's going to jump a lot.
You didn't make me finish unless you don't want to get a headache.
Yeah, even if you're in a very good, like your head is in a very good state, you're going to get a headache before this is done.
Never lets me finish though.
I know. I can't wait for this to be over. Venom, Monster of Evil, issue 24.
Really?
The monster's inside of him. He gains control of the demon inside of him. He then goes to this woman looking for help, and he basically wants to be exorcised. And they try to release the demon from him, like drag the demon out. And here's a big spoiler for you. The demon can't get out. The Venom symbiote or Flash Thompson's soul just won't let him. And he's basically begging to be let out, actually. He doesn't want to be inside of Flash Thompson. So basically, Flash Thompson is the one that's possessing the possessor, so to speak, and his body won't release the demon. So then he basically goes after Damon Hellstrom. Really nice splash page, and he wants Damon to release the demon inside of him. He wants it out, and then Damon's like, you're not a puppet, are you? Everything you're doing, everything you're feeling, all the anger and hatred, that's you. Perhaps the demon was always there. And then he's like, I'm not messing around. And then basically he's introduced to a bunch of, oh well, they're called the Monsters of Evil. I won't show you guys the last splash page.
That's creepy.
But that's what they leave you off. So he tried to exorcise himself, it didn't work, and then he goes back to Damon Hellstrom, who he's telling he wants it out of him, and basically the monster was there all along, and now Damon wants him to join the Monsters of Evil. This is definitely one of those story arcs that I would definitely recommend. If you want to jump onto Venom, wait till Minimum Carnage in October. Let this blow over first. Don't jump on Venom now. Wait for this arc to stop, or go back and get an old trade. Or if you really want to know what's going on here, you have to read the Circle of Four first. So you're going to have to go out and buy a trade anyway. But I don't know why you do that, because this is why people don't will be turned away from the series. So I say wait till this is over. I'm not saying it's awful. It's not awful. It's a 3-star story. However, not as good as the past story arc, let's put it that way. And not as good as what's coming in Venom. This is definitely one of those stories that's kind of like low, and then it's going to get to that high point again, and let's hope it stays at that high point. Avengers Academy 36. All the Avenger Academy kids get their powers back. What's his name now? Tigress and
Tigress, that sounds familiar.
And Reptile have to make a promise to their amulets, because their powers come from amulets. They have to make a promise and an exchange in order to gain their powers back. And Tigress makes a promise with the Tiger Spirit, as well as Reptile making the promise to the Animal Amulet.
It's really good.
There's the promises they both made. I don't want to say what it is. Read the book. It's pretty good. You know, last issue was lower than this one, but it was really good. And also Metal becomes Metal again, thanks to, I want to say her name right, Hazmat. And just as they reach Jeremy Briggs, something bad happens, and now it's up to the Avenger Academy kids to save the world. But basically it might be all over, but we all know that's not going to be true, because then how's all this happening? So somehow they're going to stop it in the next issue. After this story arc, we have the Avengers Academy versus the Wolverine and the X-Men, and then after that it's the last issue, or the last arc, and then we say goodbye to Avengers Academy. I feel bad because I jumped on too late once again, but I would definitely recommend you guys check it out while it's still around. Wait till this story arc's over. It's 50-50. The next story arc's going to be a lot better, especially with Wolverine and the X-Men. Mighty Thor, everything burns, but it's Mighty Thor issue 19. Once again, it's sad that I have to buy the entire Journey into Mystery Mighty Thor series in order to get the entire story arc, but from where Journey into Mystery left off, Loki runs, Thor fights everybody from Asgard for a little bit until, I have no idea who this character is, I forgot his name. I forgot his name, and I don't think they're going to give an intro of who it is in this. Well, maybe they will.
Oh.
Yeah. Heimdall.
They got
Heimdall.
Indexes, cause that's
Heimdall shows up, and everybody stops fighting. He's like, "You will all burn. Either you'll burn apart or burn together. Figure out what you want now." All Mother goes into a holding cell for a bit. Thor leads Asgard in the fight to preserve Asgard, as well as the 9 realms. Huge fights in every single realm. The Veneer and I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Veneer, and they were saying it from the beginning. I want to say Ashir.
Ashir?
Essire. Oh, Essire and Veneer. And it turns out Thor comes into contact with Loki again. Loki thinks Thor is going to kill him, or blames him for what's going on. Sif goes to see All Mother, finds out what really happened between Odin and the All Mother, and it turns out that basically he made a deal to bring peace between the 2 realms, but it didn't hold true. Loki's in Hell and begs Hela to fight alongside Asgard so that Asgard and all the other realms will win. And then we're introduced to a character at the end of this book that I don't recognize, but probably people who've been reading Thor, the Mighty Thor, will. But basically this character knows that Loki's going to come, and so is Thor, and instead of fighting them, to let them through. The story's holding its own. I guess it's a way to end the Mighty Thor and work our way, into the New 52. Really good. A lot of action, a lot of fun. I left a lot out for one reason and one reason alone. Okay, guys, let me explain to you. Every week, for another 4 weeks, counting next week as one of the 4, there's a 6-issue series. 2 issues a month of Mighty Thor, 2 issues a month for Journey into Mystery, and then the series is over. Every week, it's going to be something new. So, every week you're going to get another part to the story. I don't want to spoil too much because I want you guys to enjoy this, because then next week I'm going to spoil more of what happened in here to talk about what happened in the next issue. And officially when you're watching this, it's already Wednesday. So you're going to go out to the store and buy Journey into Mystery, which is the next part to this. If you're reading Thor. A lot of people don't like Thor.
I don't know why.
He's a fun read. I'm enjoying it. I love the fight scenes in this. I love the dialogue. I love the chemistry between Loki and Thor. Especially because Loki's always afraid that Thor is going to turn and think that he's the bad guy. And in the end of the story arc, I'll make you bet he is anyway. But
It's obvious.
It's also mentioned in here that he's kind of losing. He's a little bit mad. But beside the point, it's really good. I'd highly recommend it. I don't see too many people reading the Mighty Thor. Hopefully that'll change when Marvel Now happens. Maybe not Journey into Mystery, but at least Mighty Thor. Mike, go ahead. Give me a break.
Yes. X Factor Breaking Points Day 3, issue number 243.
Do we lose more people?
Actually, yes. We have 2 members that have left already, and as you see from the cover, that's the next person, and that is, well, I'm not going to say who it is because I have to explain the story. So we start off with Lorna, who is having a bad day, and what's his name? Jamie talks to Havoc, or Alex is his name.
You didn't know Havoc?
Is it?
Havoc, yeah.
Yeah, Havoc, yeah. And he says to him that today's the anniversary that her mother and father died in a plane crash. She meets up with Longshot and shows a picture of her mother and father. And he gets a vision from the picture, and Lorna's saying, you know, what is it? And he's like saying, I didn't see anything, and she gets mad. I'll show some artwork, actually, because it's really great artwork. And she's demanding she knows from Longshot, and since he won't tell, maybe Monette will tell. And, you know, then, no. I hate her. Layla comes in and says she'll tell you if you let her go and everything. So they meet on the roof where Monette goes into the minds of Lorna and Snapshot, and they get a flashback of how the mother and father died. But the first story, by the way, Magneto was behind this with the mother and father dying. The first story was not the truth, so Lorna demands she knows the real truth. So the mother and father are arguing, and the mother finds out that she has powers, and due to her own powers is the reason why her mother and father died. So Magneto meets up with her on a desert land where the crash was. What's his name? Jason wipes out her memory so that way she doesn't remember this, saying it's her fault. And Havoc just said enough. I think she's had enough with everything, and he thinks that they're lying. So in the end, it says sometimes the past is better off left behind. Yeah. And that's how it happened right here at the end.
So basically she's left.
Yes, due to, I don't know if Havoc left too, but due to the fact of how she found out her mother and father died, maybe she's going to think it's best that she left the team. I don't know if it's her or just both. But yeah, the team is breaking up slowly and very painfully.
Yeah.
Great issue, guys. You should actually pick it up, and I can't wait to see.
And you sweat on the book, and you.
No, I didn't.
Well, something happened to the book.
Oh, it wasn't me. Oh. Yeah, but it's a
interesting how ink runs on these things nowadays. You see that? Look at that.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Not even sweating.
I didn't do it.
Huh.
On my thumb though now.
Weird. Yeah, but it's a great issue, guys. Just be careful of the ink, obviously.
You're gonna have to start wearing gloves when you hold these books.
But can't wait to see what happens for the X Factor team and who else leaves or anything else. So go ahead.
Deadpool number 60. Let me sum this entire issue up for you guys.
Paper towel in case I'm sweaty.
Let me sum this entire issue up for you guys with this. That's the issue. Basically, Wade with a flaming asshole throughout most
really?
of the book. And then for those of you who are wondering why Deadpool looks the way he does in the Marvel Now series, well, enough said. I'll give you guys this spoiler. However, Deadpool finds a way to mind wipe, oh god, what are their names? What are their names? Black Box, nor Black Tom will ever remember that Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, lost his healing factor thanks to Black Swan. A lot of black going around there.
Yeah.
Basically, we find out that Deadpool saved Black Swan from back in issue 58, and Black Swan saying, you know, you're an evil person, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm just misunderstood. And you get a nice splash page sort of here. And then he's like, everybody knows you, everybody understands you, Deadpool, except yourself. And then he's like, I have a job for you and I want you to do this. And there's a lot of swearing that's bleeped out at the end of this issue. And
Deadpool's meant to do that.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
he's like, I'm not a bad person, but I can do some really, really, really bad blanking things. And the next issue has Hit Monkey, and then we're going to be renumbering Deadpool for the umpteenth time. Okay. That's all I can say. Okay, we'll see where the next story goes. I'm getting the first 2 issues from Marvel Now regardless, and then after that, that will determine whether... Ooh, I got something in here. Whether I'm keeping the book or dropping it completely. I'm going through every single one of my books and figuring out which ones stay and which ones go for the Marvel Now that's coming out in October. A lot of books are going to have to go in order for me to get every single one. But thank God most of the books that are going are books that are getting renumbered anyway. So from there we'll see which ones stay and which ones leave. Issue 2s are going to determine which number 1s stay and which number 1s go. But I'm telling you guys the truth. I see FF not lasting past issue number 1, and maybe Fantastic Four will last for a bit also, but everything else probably will make it past number 1. So we'll see you guys in the next part because I already saw the time. Yeah. We're at 29 seconds. Unfortunately, we are going into a third part. We don't have that much left for the third part. We have officially 4 books left, so we should get through the next part fairly quickly. In my opinion, I'm going to start off the next part with my book instead of Michael's. And, yeah, we'll see you guys in the third part, apparently. They're getting longer and longer all the time. See you guys in part 3.